Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a no-run-through review for Rogue, one of the newest Marvel Champion heroes coming out with Gambit. And at the time of this recording, they are the last two heroes that have been announced. So here's hoping that that is not the case of them just completely being the last for this game. But if it is, Rogue is a fantastic way to send it off because I think she is super cool. Like, she is very, very awesome and fun to play and extremely unique. Like, even though there are characters that aren't my personal playstyle, I think that they are somehow killing it still with every single hero. It's quite impressive. And Rogue is no different, so let's go ahead and start talking about her. She has 3 recovery as Anna Marie, and has a setup which is called Touched, that just goes off to the side. And then Withdrawn, forced response after you change to this form, set Touched aside, so you can't use it. Hand size of 6, hit points 11, which is actually pretty good. And based off of her deck is built around protection, so she has a lot of defensive cards in here. So it's almost weird because her and Gambit almost should have separate health piles or health stats. Like, I feel like he should be at 11, she should be at 9 because of just the sheer amount of defensive cards. At least her precon comes with. I know you could just be like, oh, I'm going to put protection with Gambit. But anyway, I will go ahead and start talking about Touched in a very short second, because whenever we go over to Rogue, she's pretty stacked on stats at 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 defense. That's pretty good. And then she has Skin Contact. As an action, you can attach Touch to another character, and a character counts as an ally, minion, villain, or a hero. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round, and you can do this once per round. And then forced response after the player phase begins, you set Touched aside. Now, here's what makes her very, very cool, is because Touched gives Rogue a particular ability. So it's like, if Touch is attached to a minion, Rogue's attacks gain Overkill. If it's attached to the villain, she gains Retaliate 1. If it's an ally, she gains the Aerial trait. And if it's a hero, she gains Stalwart. So she is just, how her playstyle is just depending on who she is choosing to touch to get their abilities. And I think that is extremely cool, because there are a lot of characters in this game that have a lot of versatility depending on how they want to go, but not a lot of them are versatile in traits or giving stuff like that. Normally it's like, I can do some thwarting, I can do some minion control, I can do some heavy damage, but it's like, she's all about giving her these keywords, which is just insane. So, for the cards I'm going to show, I only have 6 main ones that are released from her. The rest are, like I said, defense, and I'll talk about a few of them. I'll show that one as well, because that could be handy. But she basically has multiples of these 6 cards. Well, now 7 because I added one. But, well, instead of talking about those real quick, we'll talk about something, one of her upgrades, which is Rogue's Jacket. And while Touched is attached to a friendly character, she gets +1 thwart. And while it's attached to an enemy character, she gains +1 attack. I mean, again, versatility. If you just have that out, then it's like, oh, I need to do some thwarting. Okay, this turn I'll attach Touched to a friendly character and then start thwarting. Oh, I need to do some damage. Okay, well, I'll attach it to an enemy character and start attacking. And, oh, while it's attached to a minion, my attacks gain Overkill. So, there's actually quite a bit going on with her, but I think that it's still insanely cool. And here's the weird thing, is Rogue is actually not horrible solo. Whenever I was first reading her and stuff, I was like, oh man, does she have to play with another player? But, no, I mean, she can attach it to herself, she can attach it to a ally that comes out. She doesn't have a whole lot in here, but she can attach it to the villain. So if you happen to have another player, then she gets really, really cool because of this card, which is Superpower Adaptation. This has a lot of text on it, but essentially, as a hero action, this is free. Oh, cool, thank you. If Touch is attached to a friendly character, search its owner's discard pile for an event that belongs to the same classification as that character. So identity specific, aspect, or basic, and add that event card to your hand. That is very, very neat and thematically cool. So if you're playing with Hulk or something, you can just take one of his massive event cards and be like, okay, she's going to touch him to get this all-powerful attack, and then use it. I think that's extremely neat. Like, there's a few like cards that allow you to like mess with other people's discard pile, but this is just so thematic. I think it's really, really awesome. And then, this is kind of where some of her cards are based on who it's attached to. So her heavy kind of, well, she has one thwart card, which is called Going Rogue, and I'm going Ghost. And there is one, I think there's three, two, three. Yes, there are three Going Rogue cards. So this is, as a hero action, thwart, you remove 3 threat from a scheme. And then if Rogue has Aerial, you remove 2 additional threat. If she has Retaliate, she can confuse an enemy. And if she has Stalwart, she draws a card. So again, depending on where Touched is at is what's going to affect your other cards. So if you have Touched attached to an ally, then and play Going Rogue, you're removing 5 threat. If you have it attached to herself or a hero, she has Stalwart, so now Going Rogue lets her draw a card. That's just extremely neat, and you can have 3 of those. Her big one, her big heavy attack is Southern Cross, which I apologize for the glare, but trust me on what it says. It's a hero action, deals 6 damage to an enemy, and then if Rogue has the aerial trait, it deals 2 additional damage. Retaliate, stun that enemy, and Stalwart, draw a card. So it's like for the Going Rogue, she confuses them. For Southern Cross, she stuns them. If she has Retaliate, which is again, if she has touched on the villain. And I mean, those are really the main ones that are affected by her cards, but she has 3 Southern Crosses in here, and then 3 Going Rogues, and then the rest of her cards, there's a lot of green in here, and then, like I said, because she's extremely defensive, one of her defensive cards is called Bulletproof Bell. And Bulletproof Bell has a hero interrupt when an enemy with Touched attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack, and gain a tough status card. That's just extremely neat. Just a flat out, nah, I'm actually not going to take any damage from that, and I'm going to prevent all damage from another attack. And she has quite a few of those in here as well. Especially because that only costs 1, and that's a defensive card. You can play Defensive Energy, which is just a protection card, and it's when you spend this card to play a defense event, draw a card. So her defensive cards allow her to not really lose out on hand draw, so she's almost always having a hand of cards even while defending, which is huge, because normally it's like, okay, I don't want to take any damage, but I'm going to lose out on having a hand for my next turn. That's really cool. One that I found that was kind of interesting was, this was the 7th card I drew, it was called the X Gene. And the X Gene is, you can only play it if you have the mutant trait, which her hero ability doesn't, or hero side, but her alter ego side does. And you can just exhaust it to generate a wild for an identity-specific event. So you basically have to be in hero mode to do it, but I also thought the art on this was cool, with her touching Cyclops to get his beam eyes. So that's really neat. And then another kind of just versatile one, depending on who you're going to put it on, is called Energy Transfer. And this one is, you attach Touch to a character other than Rogue and deal 2 damage to that character, and then you heal 2 damage from her. So again, like a healing factor. And this almost feels like it's kind of like you want to play with Wolverine, because he just naturally heals. So it's like you deal 2 damage to him, he's going to heal it, at the beginning of his next turn, and then heals her. But then it says heal 2 damage from him and ready her, and then you gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. So she seems to have a lot of really really unique ways to build her deck, because there's not a lot of cards like Aerial, Retaliator, Stalwart, stuff like that, but like getting other characters' traits almost doesn't feel like inherently helpful. But if you are building her deck around certain traits, then it's like, okay, if I have this card, I can use this trait. If I have this card, I can use this trait. And I think that is extremely cool. So, I mean, some of her upgrade cards are just pure defense. So, like, Unflappable is a defensive card that if you just defend and take no damage, you get to draw a card after exhausting that. There is Judoka Skill, which is when you defend against an attack, you remove one of the judo counters, and the enemy gets -2 attack to that. She has Gambit, of course, as an ally. He enters with 3 charge counters, and when he attacks, you remove one to deal an extra damage. So essentially, he can do 3 damage. She also has the Beauty and the Thief card, just like Gambit does. So that's their team up, deal 4 damage, and remove 4 threat from a scheme. But honestly, that's a lot of like her cards. Like a lot of her deck is 3 Going Rogues, 3 Southern Crosses, 3 Energy Transfers, 3. But so she's not like insanely versatile in like card variety. But the fact that I think it would have been a little much if they made like a bunch of different cards that was like, okay, if you have this, if you have this. However, that just comes with the deck construction. Let's see. Issues with Rogue. I mean, she has a few ways to heal. Doesn't have a whole lot of upgrades. I mean, she could do massive amounts of thwart. She could do massive amounts of damage. She has such defense, like so many defense cards that she's not really taking damage. She has ways to draw cards. I mean, just like, I mean, she doesn't have a whole lot of allies, but it's like the allies that she does have are just really like, there's just straight up armor coming out, and she's cheap, comes out, and she comes out with toughness. Iceman comes out, and whenever a minion enters play, he can stun it. Like, I mean, this one, not today. This is just an event, so when you're, if you defend from an attack, you get +2 defense, which is like 4, and if you take no defense, you remove 2 threat from a scheme. I mean, pretty solid on defense, and because you don't really need to use her stats for a whole lot of stuff, then you can, I mean, just still use all that extra stuff by just putting touch around. Like, she's pretty solid. Like, I'm not really finding a massive flaw. Like, she doesn't really have to build up. I mean, I guess like you can only attach touch to like one other character, so it's like, but I mean, you get to pick where that's going, and nothing really can remove it. It's just an upgrade. I mean, yeah, if you go into alter ego mode, then you're doing the withdrawn and you can't use it then. But if you're in alter ego mode, you're not really doing much anyway except recovering, or you're going into play the X Gene card. I mean, she has a hand limit, and she basically has ways to keep her hand limit at that, so she doesn't get a whole lot of cards that allow her to go above that hand limit. But she's staying constant, which is still pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think she's a lot of fun. So let's see how much damage I can do with her. It's not going to be a lot, so let's say she can have 6 cards in that. It's like, okay, we're going to do Southern Cross. She does have the Genius, and we'll just say Gambit is out as well. Might do Beauty and the Thief, so I think I'll do 6 cards. So we're going to need Energy, Strength, maybe for Beauty and the Thief. I don't think I can get 2 Southern Crosses off. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. 6, 2. Well, if we do that for that one for the yeah. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Who. Yeah, actually, she can't. Yeah, I can't. She doesn't really do a whole lot of massive damage in one attack. But I can probably get. I think I might be able to get one more card. Because if I do Southern Cross and she's Stalwart, then. But I need her to be Aerial. So yeah, so I'm not going to be able to draw from stars. I need her to be Aerial, and for Aerial, it needs to be attached to an ally. So we'll say Touch is attached to Gambit, which gives her Aerial. Let's see. Because that'll be that, so I think. Huh. Yeah, maybe Beauty and the Thief can't go off. So if that's the case, if I'm doing these two, that one, and something else, sure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And, because that's if I defend against an attack. Yeah, you know what? God, what I should have done is I should have looked for a bunch of, I should have looked through a bunch of other characters' cards to be like, ooh, what event could I get? Yeah, I'm thinking this is kind of what, after a mutant alter ego changes into hero form, exhausts that hero's controller, draws one card. Potentially. Okay, there is theoretically a way I can get 7 cards. So if Moira McTaggart was out, and there was another mutant alter ego, they changed into hero form, I could exhaust that because it's a response to draw cards. So let's say I had my 6 cards and I was going second, then I could exhaust that to draw a card, so I'd have 7 cards. So therefore, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So these are my 7 cards. So this is my quick impromptu way of just trying to do as much damage as possible. This is what the setup has to be. Oh, and she needs to have her jacket out. Yeah. So she has her jacket out as well. Okay, so first things first is she will do energy. So energy and Beauty and the Thief. So dealing 4 damage. So there's 4 because Gambit's out. Then I'll just do the easier ones first. And I'll attack with Rogue. Unfortunately, because I can't get the benefit of the Southern Cross with the Rogue's jacket. So it'll be 2 damage, so that's 6. Then I will play Genius and Energy Transfer to... Oh. Okay, hold on. No, there is a way. There is a way, baby. So Touched... Yes, Touched is attached to... Yeah, okay, cool. So there's that. So first thing, I'm going to play Strength and a throwaway card for 3 to then play Southern Cross to do 6 damage. So I'm at 10 damage, but because I have the aerial trait, that's going to be 2 more, so that's going to be 12 damage. She's ready. Then 12 damage. Then I will attack for 14 damage. Then I will play Genius and then Energy Transfer. Then I will attach Touch to the villain, heal her for 2, and then that allows her to be readied. And because now that's on the villain, she gets +1 attack. So I was at 10. I was at 4, 10, 12, 14. Now I can attack again for 3 more because it's +1, so 14, so 17. And then have Gambit attack for 3, removing a counter, so 20. 20 overall damage with a heal, and now because it's on the villain, she now has Retaliate 1, and yeah, so Retaliate 1 might do 1 damage, so that's 22 points of damage. So, yeah, I mean, there's kind of a flaw in hers that she can't do, like, massive amounts of damage. Like, it is kind of that, like, the energy transfer is the one way she can move touched from one character, or starting on one and moving it to another to get a different benefit, which is still extremely, extremely cool. But she's not going to be doing a whole bunch of, like, oh, this turn I'm going to do 18 points of damage. It's like, it's not really happening, because that took, like, a lot of finagling. That one felt more tight than some of the other ones, even though, like, some of the other ones are kind of, like, stretching it. But still, I think Rogue has such a cool gimmick around her. Yeah, it's really neat. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'm going to give Rogue... I think I'm going to give her... Well, I mean, here's the... I'm going to give her a... I want to say 10 because it's just so neat. Because one of the cards I almost took instead of, you know, doing the Moira thing to give her the 7th card, I almost just took Superpower Adaptation, because if you're playing with someone who has these massive amounts of damage or these extremely cool, unique events, you can use those. So they can use them, you can play Superpower Adaptation and use it as well. I'm going to give Rogue a 10. I think that is extremely neat. There is not many heroes that synergize with other heroes like this. Yeah, you can have a really powerhouse team. You can have a guy that deals with minions, so he's focusing on minions while allowing other people to build up their characters. But it's like nothing in the terms of like of this, of being like, I'm going to run up and touch Captain Marvel and get her energy photon beam to do 8 damage. It's like you just don't get those a whole lot. That's just thematically cool. And it's like, so that was 22 points of damage just with herself, but it's like, I know there are some heavy hitting event cards out there that it's like, okay, well now I have that. So yeah, I can't really do a whole lot of damage right now, but I'm going to use that event card now. It's so cool. Like, I really, really hope Fantasy Flight is not done with this game, because they are just killing it with these characters. Yeah, she might be my favorite X-Men right now. And that's... I mean, some of the X-Men have kind of fallen flat. Most have been pretty good to really good. She's like the first one that I played that's like great. Which is really, really awesome. And it's a relief. So... that's my thoughts on Rogue. Let me know what you think of her in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.